Today we're going to be doing some latex mold making. This is not the sculpture I'm making the mold, but I wanted to show you how to do and start the latex version of it. I'm spraying some silicone spray in the wet clay, and I'm using water-based clay, and I have brushable latex, so I put it all over my model. And the thing with latex, you have to put it in layers. This is my second alligator sculpture, but I will be mold making today my first alligator sculpture. The key with latex that I found is that you have to layer it thinly. Don't put too thick of latex in there, otherwise it's not going to make itself dry and it'll take much longer to dry out. The process with latex is time consuming. I think the reason I picked it was that latex is much cheaper than silicone, so I thought maybe, I'd just leisurely put tons of coats of latex and that would be that. But I'm finding that it's a lot harder to deal with this because you constantly have to go around the latex. I do like that the latex is very rubbery and you could turn it up, inside out and like a glove almost. So it's very fluid in that respect, and latex is natural. And silicone is a different sort of beast to work with. And in addition to that, silicone is very expensive. But this is my first mold making tutorials that I'm doing on YouTube, and I plan on doing more of these, but latex I found was the easiest way to learn because it's very easy to brush on. You don't have to measure things, A to B ratios. You just paint it on. And don't worry that it looks white. It clears transparent. The one problem with the first sculpture that I did destroy the original. And that's something that I don't like. I wanted to fire the terracotta, but by working with this system, I had to destroy it. Be patient with it. You need to put about 10 coats of latex. So you put one coat, a thin coat, you let it dry, and then you let it dry for about a day, and then the next day come in, put another coat. Do that for like a week, and then you'll have a decent mold to work from. And this rubberized mold is the one that grabs all the detail, and then you need another mold which is called the mother mold, which is the shell outside of this to retain the shape. And I have it all latexed up, about 10 coats of latex, and it looks a little bit like a mess, but I added 10 coats, and what I have here is latex thickener because I have a lot of negative spots here in between the legs, so I added this latex thickener. And I could just go ahead and make one large shell, but what I decided to do is put this aluminum tape because I want to separate this part to this part. I don't know if that's going to be a great process, but that's what I decided on doing. And I'm going to be using plaster. In this bag, I have my modeling plaster. And I got it from T.W. Perry, which is a hardware store. And it comes, I think, in an 80-pound bag. You're also going to need some sort of silicone spray. Remember, I don't really know what to do here, so I'm just kind of winging it as best as I can. And you can see I have latex gloves on. Silicone spray, we're going to use that. And then in this dirty jar, I have water. I'm also using one of these masks. I don't want to breathe in anything, so I'm going to put this on. Plaster in here. Container full of plaster. And now we're going to take some water. And it's just a container that looks dirty. These are just shims that I cut down. We're going to mix it up. I want it to be a consistency of peanut butter. So if you want, or if you need to, just mix in some additional plaster. So you definitely want to stir this into a nice consistency. It should look like peanut butter. and you don't want to put too much water. Right now it's too wet. Put the mold release agent. So one of the things I found was that I didn't add enough water into the plaster. In a way it's good because it retains its shape and you can just put over your model. So this is the process of making the mother mold, and you can see I divided it in half. So one towards the head and one towards the body. And you just add the big shell. One thing I need to do in the future is make it so it can be on level, because if it's round it's just going to be rolling off the table. So you learn as you go around and you do more of these. So this is really my first one, and hopefully it's going to turn out okay. Now let's get to the front. I had to mix a new batch of plaster, but this one is a lot runnier and I prefer that. So make sure you put plenty of plaster in there. And you know, the problem is like plaster is so messy. I wish there was something cleaner. So now I let it dry for a few hours, and it seems to be the time to come in and separate the mother mold. You can feel that it's slightly wet to the touch, so I guess it's not fully hard, and I did let it dry overnight, but it's still slightly wet. I guess it depends how much water you put in. So now let's pry using a tool and pull it up. And it comes out pretty easily. And I can even separate the latex from... That is the half that I need to remove. So this is the front of the alligator right here. This is the rear. And I think in the future, instead of using the aluminum tape, I probably would use some water clay or even oil-based clay to make the division. But using a sharp tool like this, I cram it in there and I just pull it a little bit. I don't want to pull too much on it because I don't want to damage anything. And it's also pulling on the latex, so you have to be careful. Work it from each side, from the top, and try to get the mold separated from the latex. Because of the head of the alligator sticking out, it makes it a little bit more difficult. Alright guys, here we are, and this is the clay. And I am hoping that I can remove it without butchering this thing. Separating. Look at this. And it's not going to be possible. We managed it's way too difficult. Difficult to get out of the mother mold, so that's kind of cool. So it did hold its shape, and with the mold release it came out pretty well. I am very surprised. And also, if you mix plaster and wet clay and you try to fire the clay, I think it's not going to work out too well. So I am using my respirator because I don't want any plastic particles getting in my nose, and I recommend everybody to do that. It seems to work fairly well. So now I'm pulling the back part of the mold out, and look at that, it retained the shape. I'm going to put this aside. Now we have to work on the other half of the mold. This one is a lot more difficult. It's also pulling on the latex. At this point I realized I couldn't save the original sculpture, which is a little depressing to see your work crumble in front of you, but hopefully I'll be able to make some copies of this. And now you begin the process of removing all the clay from your latex mold, and you have to clean it up really well. Make sure that all the bits are gone, all the clay in there is gone, and where the head is very difficult because it's got the jaws, it's got the teeth, and you have to get all the little clay in there out if you want to pour in plaster or plastic or anything that you would want to make the mold of. So the one thing we're going to be doing is cleaning up the latex, and this is the mold, and there's little spots here and there where clay has gotten into, and one of the things that you really have to go inside here and make sure that everything is super clean because we don't want to lose any of the detail. And this thing is pretty flexible and it holds its shape fairly well. The issue is the head. I think I'm going to have quite a bit of an issue getting the plaster or whatever I do out of here. But this is putting it inside out. It seems to work fairly well. I just want to get all the clay, which is one of the benefits of water clay is that with water it just kind of melts away. I think we're ready to start our first copy. Here, this is the latex mold, and I did make a cut in the legs here, so hopefully this will hold fairly well. But this part, the thicker part, is made out of latex thickener, and I just took some scissors and I cut it, and even if there's a seam there, it's going to be on the inside of the alligator and not on the outside where the detail is. But I still want to be able to put it together and remove any seams. We have the two sections of the mold. This is the tail part, and this is what people call the mother mold. What we're going to be doing, we need to join them, and I should have made a better way to join them, but since this is my first mold, I'm not quite really sure what I'm doing. Okay, let's see if I can pick this up. Like that. Okay. At it, and shoot, it is very difficult to get that head out. So I might just chisel away at some things here. Make sure you wear your protection. I'm wearing eye and nose protection. The space I put seems to be okay. Let me just bring you guys a little bit closer. Any particles on there, it seems pretty clean. So what I'm going to do now is going to take our silicone spray, and I am going to, actually I should have done this before, but make sure you get that head. Actually, I'm just going to pull it out. This is going to give you a way to remove your plaster or whatever you don't want to breathe in any of this, but I'm kind of like just rubbing it a little bit more, and I'm going to put just some on the outside here. The reason you're putting this is a release agent, And I really should be wearing like long sleeves for this, but okay. I think what I like about this consistency of being a little bit thicker or thinner is I can just pour it inside the mold. And you're gonna have to shake it up a bit. And I'm just gonna like make sure that it reaches where it needs to reach down there. And I think I mixed up enough of this. Look at that. Eesh. Okay, hopefully this is gonna turn out, guys. I guess. Alright, I'm just gonna grab this plaster. I'm just gonna force it to go down here. I'm like looking under the latex to see how. Alrighty, guys, this is our first mold. It's kind of yucky looking, and I do like the results of plaster, except it is kind of messy. I really wish there was a less messy way to go. So we are going to be waiting on this, and I just want to see. It's kind of raising up, which is a little bit concerning for me. I don't like the raising, and you can tell it's still moist, but I'm going to try pulling it out. Remember, I have not done this before. I'm going to put some gloves on just so I don't get plaster all over my hands. Hope this works, guys. It's so funny, like the plaster is so warm to the touch. All right, so let's see if we can separate these two. So here's this one and this one. Okay, here's one side. This is the easy one to remove, so I want to see if I can remove the head first. Come on, please don't break. Don't break. Concerned about is the this thing. Oh, it is kind of coming out. Look at that. Oh, that's good. Hey, that came out. That came out. Okay. Now here's the moment of truth, guys. This is my first mold. Maybe you can tell the excitement in my voice. Okay. It's coming out. Please come out. It's stuck. Ah, shit. All right. I'm gonna pull it from over here. So far, so good. Oh, so far, so good. This is going to be difficult. This is going to be difficult. Okay. Good detail there. Okay, it's coming out of there. Coming out of there. Okay, that's still good. Okay, come on, come on. It's stuck on this side. Stuck on this side. Okay, it's coming out. Oh, good, good. That's kind of fascinating. Oh man, yeah, there's some detail that fell off the legs. That's not good. All right, let's pull from here. Hopefully this will come out. This is really the hard part, is around the... Okay, come on. Oh, it's coming out of the head. Okay, good, good. Ah, almost, guys. I broke the very top. So this is a very challenging part. You can see the plaster is inside here. So let's see if I can just remove it, because I might be able to fix it up. Ooh. So it is inside the latex here. This is very difficult to get rid of. I was hoping... Okay, so here is part of the jaw. And there's the lower jaw. So this is definitely not a great process because the details of so that's how it should look, but it is not perfect at all. So a lot of it broke off. I don't know if it's already too dry. I think I should have waited a little bit longer. So that's how it should look, but it's missing a lot of the lower jaw and stuff like that. I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just clean this up, but that's the tip of the jaw is definitely not very good, but as a first run, I'm not too terribly upset with it. I think it's kind of neat that it actually worked. I can feel that the plaster is soft. It's pretty soft, but it did retain a lot of the detail, and I'm kind of surprised that I was able to do this.